Coucou mes chers amis, j'espère que vous allez bien. Hi everyone, hope you're doing great and welcome to this channel. In this video, I wanted to discuss why you should work on your French pronunciation. This channel is about French pronunciation, so make sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to learn more about French phonetics and articulation. But in this video, I wanted to actually answer the question why. Personally, when I learn something or do something, I need to know why I'm doing this, what value this action is going to bring me. And in this video, we're going to be discussing just this. And first of all, I wanted to say that in the past, I may have used some clickbaity titles like learn French pronunciation to sound perfect or to sound just like a native. I used it to get more views and attention here on YouTube, but in reality, this is not what I think. I don't think that setting the goal of sounding like someone else, just like a native does, is the best goal you can have in your language learning journey. I think this is kind of a pointless goal and it is not really measurable, and even if it can motivate you and push you to do things, to start learning, to get a teacher or something, I think it's not gonna serve you well in the long run. At the very least, that's my story. I've been there, and as someone who's at the very beginning of my learning journey really was crazy about getting rid of my accent. I think it's pointless mainly because it is really hard to get rid of your accent if you're not exposed to the language every day, if you don't get to speak it every day for a very long periods of time, if you maybe don't live in the country or you just don't have anyone who speaks the language in your life. So it's really hard to get rid of the accent, and it's really why. There is no answer to the question why. Does it give you boost of confidence? Then the question, but why are you insecure when you speak a new language? I think there should be other objectives that you want to achieve by learning pronunciation, these that are measurable and that answer the question why. How exactly achieving these objectives is gonna help you to be confident speaker of French language, fluent speaker. So if you're someone at least a little bit like me and you're ashamed of your accent in a language that you're learning, just like I was, I would suggest reconsidering, because the only fact that you can actually speak another language other than your native one is already awesome. If you have a pretty good level, or if you're advanced, that's already wonderful, even if you have an accent, and honestly, no one probably cares. You're the only one who cares. And in this video, I wanted to suggest a couple of more reasons why to watch this channel and to learn French pronunciation. But first, I just want to make sure that we are on the same page about what pronunciation practice actually includes. I usually divide the process of learning French pronunciation into three parts. First is about sounds, is how to produce and differentiate different sounds. We're different from kids in a sense that kids really can hear the smallest differences between different sounds, and it's easier to pick up those sounds and to learn to produce them without any additional help when you're just a small kid. But when we grow up, and for adults, it's just harder to get the difference and to really understand it and to hear maybe sounds that do not exist in your native language. We should use different strategies like the one that I'm using, by just showing you and explaining all the articulation, how to move your mouth exactly. So that's one part. Another part is reading rules, because that's one thing to just know that there is, let's say, a sound in French, but another thing is to know when you should pronounce it, right? And when instead of au ouvert, you say au fermé. When you pronounce I, when you pronounce nasal sounds, and all that kind of stuff. And that's the second part. And the third part is prosody. Prosody is about patterns in language. So it's about intonation, it's about accent, it's about pausing, it's also about groupe rythmique in French. So this is about general patterns that touch a whole sentence or a phrase. It is important to study prosody so you can learn other ways of getting across your message, when you can use intonation or pausing to do that. And also, these are the ways you can actually express your personality by using additional accents or longer pauses and all that kind of stuff. And so, based on all of this, one of the reasons of why to study phonetics that I wanted to mention today is make sure you're understood. While you don't really have to pronounce all the sounds just like a native with this perfect, let's say, standard French pronunciation, it is still important that you can produce the sounds in a way so it's easy to understand you. When we just start learning a language, and especially if it is our first foreign language, it is quite often that we fail to produce sounds that are unique to the language. So for me, this would be all of the nasal sounds. So nasal sounds do not exist in Russian. And as French is my first foreign language, I struggled a lot with nasal sounds, and especially with the difference between nasal A and nasal E. I couldn't hear it and I couldn't produce it. And in French, unfortunately, in some words, if you replace one sound with another, it will replace the meaning as well. And another reason is that if you just fail to pronounce all the sounds, or if you mispronounce them all, it's going to be harder and harder to understand what you're saying. And this is not what we want. The next reason why is to make it physically easy to pronounce sounds and to speak French. You know, after pronunciation lessons, some people say that they have pain here in these muscles. And this is exactly what my pronunciation teachers told me back at school, that if you don't feel muscle pain around here, it means you didn't practice well. Also, after I moved to the United States and I started using English for longer periods of time, within a day, I noticed how physically exhausted I was after all those conversations, and especially after starting a full-time job and having a lot of meetings with people. Like, even 1 hour of speaking was kind of already painful. And the reason for this is that the muscles that are supposed to be used to produce French sounds or English sounds, if it's not your native language, they're not used as often. They are not trained to be used as often. And the more you practice, the easier it gets to produce and to speak the language. I mean, physically. Boost confidence. Once you learn how to produce each sound, and when you learn all the reading rules, so you can know how to actually pronounce the words that you're reading, it will give you a boost of confidence, for sure, because you're gonna feel like now you can pronounce any word and you're not gonna be confused about anything. So you can be concentrated on the meaning of the message that you're trying to say instead of focusing on your errors. This is actually something that I am sometimes doing in English. I avoid using some words or saying some things just because I know there is a sound, or maybe a sound combination, you know. It's also a whole different thing. You can learn how to produce a sound, but there might be just hard sound combination. So it's also important to practice sound combinations as well. So yes, nailing all the sounds and all the sound combinations, especially, you know, the hardest combinations for you. I guess it's also important to analyze where are you at the moment, and to use this information as your starting point, and to construct your program of learning pronunciation based on your own needs. Improve listening skills. How can we understand a spoken word if we do not know what we're supposed to hear? And if we can get back to my example of not knowing the difference between nasal I and nasal E, in this case, how are you supposed to distinguish words that only differentiate in this one sound, either nasal I, either nasal E, where there's only this sound that makes the whole difference? The same goes for all the sounds. How can we understand what people are saying if we do not know all the sounds of this language? And again, you're not supposed to perfectly know all the sounds and be able to produce them and to memorize a table of the sounds and all that kind of stuff. But just knowing they exist and being able to produce those sounds something that's going to be helpful. I know that some people struggle to actually hear the difference between different sounds and they do not know how to approach it. And unfortunately, sometimes if you go to courses or take classes, on my own experience, the only thing teachers do is they just ask you to repeat over and over again. And I don't think it is helpful. That's never helped me. What I suggest you doing is learn the articulation differences between different sounds. So again, nasal A and nasal E, on, are pronounced with different mouth position, with different tongue position, with different jaw position. So for nasal X is more relaxed, while for nasal A it stays the same. So if you're not picking up the difference, you cannot hear it, maybe you can try pronounce, like learn the articulation, tongue, mouth positions for the sounds and feel the difference first with your articulation, and with time you can also learn to hear it as well. Working on your pronunciation and listening a lot are two things that should go together. So if it's difficult for you to listen to the French speech and understand what they're saying, then probably you should spend some time learning French sounds and French pronunciation, and vice versa. And the last point that I wanted to mention is self-expression. Well, definitely there are a lot of rules about phonetics. If you learn prosody and French intonation or patterns like this, like groupe rythmique, or accents or pauses and that kind of stuff, there are definitely rules that you need to respect, but also sometimes it is not only about rules and knowing how exactly to put an accent, sometimes it is purely about self-expression. So for instance, in French, the use of accent d'insistance, so accent that you can put just to emphasize something, it is purely about self-expression. For instance, you can say c'est magnifique, or you can say c'est magnifique to get along this message that it was extraordinarily great, whatever it was. The same goes for intonation. There are rules you need to respect and know what intonation to use in question or exclamation and that kind of stuff, but also it can be used as a tool of self-expression. So the language, on my humble opinion, language is a tool that helps to pass down knowledge or information, but also sometimes words that you use and the intonation that you use, it all adds up to how you want to express your personality as well. To recap all of this, we want to study French pronunciation and to do more practice exercises to first of all be effective communicator. We want to be understood. We want to be able to produce all those new sounds, but also we want to understand, and it is hard to listen to something and understand the sounds that you cannot hear and you just don't know. Also, there are other reasons like boosting your confidence. If you know all the sounds and all the reading rules, you're gonna feel confident about reading and pronouncing just anything. And also it is about self-expression. Knowing some prosody details is gonna help you to maybe put more emotion and to put more into the message you're trying to get across. If you are curious to know what was my journey of learning French, then I invite you to watch this video on my other YouTube channel about my journey of learning 3 languages. And if you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in my next one. Thank you guys. Au revoir.